Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here at the Miserable Liberal and Ron Placone.
Hello.
I'm miserable.
So I want to talk to you about Jeremy Corbyn's response to the alleged Russian nerve agent attack on a Russian spy that just happened in the UK. So here's how and I showed this before in another video. Here it is again. Here's how NBC reported it.
Sergei Skripal, a former Russian spy, was poisoned with military nerve agent. He and his daughter seriously ill.
It is highly likely that Russia was responsible.
British Prime Minister Theresa May giving Russia a deadline midnight tonight for answers. President Trump backing Britain, threatening consequences.
It sounds to me like it would be Russia based on all of the evidence they have.
Russia's foreign minister says that's garbage. It won't heed any deadline and wants samples of the nerve agent used. The crisis deepening. Britain ready to expel Russian diplomats and to impose new sanctions. Bill Neely, NBC News, London.
Okay, so there you go. Jeremy Corbyn responded to that, and here's how he responded. He said the attack in Salisbury was an appalling act of violence, which we condemn in the strongest terms. Nerve agents are abominable if used in war. It is utterly reckless for them to be used in a civilian environment. The Prime Minister said on Monday and again today that Russia was either directly responsible or it was culpable because it lost control of this nerve agent. The Russian authorities must be held to account on the basis of evidence, emphasis mine, on the basis of evidence. And our response must be both decisive and proportionate. Boy, it sounds like he's, being like a rational diplomat. It's like he's being a real statesman, like he's trying to be the only thing we have to fear is fear itself kind of a guy.
It sounds like something a Putin puppet would say.
He's got more to say. He says the attack in Britain has concerned our allies in the European Union, NATO, and in the United States, and their words of solidarity have strengthened our positions diplomatically. Why does everyone care if a Russian spy got killed? That's my first question. Who cares? So I'm missing something. Let me know what it is in the comments, why people would care about this. Secondly, here we go. We have a duty to speak out against the abuse of human rights by Putin's government and its support, both home and abroad, and pay tribute to the many campaigners in Russia for human rights. And we must do more to address the dangers posed by the Russian state's relationship with unofficial mafia-like groups and corrupt oligarchs. Sounds pretty strong, everything he's saying. We need to expose the flows of ill-gotten cash between the Russian state and billionaires who become stupendously rich by looting their own country and subsequently using London to protect their wealth. We welcome the Prime Minister's clear commitment today to support the Magnitsky Act, the Magnitsky Amendments to sanction human rights abusers, as we have long been calling for. Britain should build an international consensus to strengthen the Chemical Weapons Convention and ensure that such a horrific attack never happens again. Now, that sounds pretty clear-headed, pretty strong, and exactly what a statesman would say, right? If we're going to do something, it's got to be based on evidence.
Based on evidence, and that the appropriate parties are held responsible,
Yes.
and the offenders are the things we're trying to prevent.
And that our response is proportionate.
Proportionate.
You know,
that was another key word.
He's so reasonable, it makes me uncomfortable.
It does. Well, it makes a lot of people uncomfortable stuff. And who else? Here you go. This is astonishing. Corbyn's response to a statesman like Theresa May sounds like it was written by Putin himself. So do you see that there's nothing you can ever do on the left that's going to stop red smearing? So when Bernie Sanders' staff tweets out all that bullshit Russiagate stuff, that's not going to help you. They still are going to call you a Putin puppet. They do it right now. They're doing it right now. And look what they're doing to Corbyn. They're doing that right now. So no matter what he says, he's a Putin puppet. That's the new thing. That's how the establishment is trying to silence progressives here and across the pond. And they're doing it for your own good. Not a single word of condemnation for Russia from Corbyn or on the Salisbury attack. In the Commons now, instead calling for dialogue. Instead, questions Tory donations. Shouts of, "Are you saying this for a clip on Russia Today?" So that's a guy named Greg Hands. He's a Tory. Michael Tracey retweets that and says, again, this Tory line of attack on Corbyn is virtually identical to the mainstream Democratic attack on Trump. What does that tell you about the premises that underlie the criticism?
I disagree with Michael Tracey's analysis because over in the UK, they know that the Tories are the right-wing party.
Ah! And here we don't know the Democrats are a right-wing party.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Labor used to be pretty right-wing until Jeremy Corbyn took it over.
That's true.
And I guess that's what Bernie Sanders thinks can happen here, is that he can take it over the way Jeremy Corbyn took it over. Remember, there's more than two parties in the UK.
Yep.
So just remember that. So what does that tell you about the premises that underlie the criticism? What is it? Does it tell? I would like to. We should have called Michael Tracey and got his opinion on this. What it tells me is that it's propaganda. It's the establishment trying to marginalize progressives. This is also the establishment attacking Trump from the right. So it tells me that these premises that underlie these criticisms are BS. That's what that tells me, that the premises that underlie these criticisms are BS. The Tory line of attack on Corbyn is virtually identical to the mainstream Democratic attack on Trump, that Trump's somehow in bed with Putin.
I think somebody needs to retweet that Marcus guy and call him a Putin puppet.
Right.
Because they're like, you just said it sounds like Putin wrote it himself. I read Jeremy Corbyn's thing, and it seems very well-spoken and reasonable, so you must love Putin.
He must think, yeah, are you saying Putin?
It's well written.
You're saying Putin does some good writing? Is that what you're saying? You're complimenting Putin.
You're saying Putin's very reasonable and responds appropriately.
Here's another one. A glaring omission, Jeremy Corbyn refused to even once directly condemn the Russian government for the Salisbury attack in his response to the prime minister. This will haunt him. Labor would perform better on these issues if Corbyn got rid of his two advisors whose whole approach to international affairs can be boiled down to Putin has a point. This is unbelievable, right? So people just get to write. This is so me being in this world, this political world since, I don't know, 2008, 9, when I got my radio show on KPFK and my hour special on Comedy Central, which was political. It's wild to watch the newspapers. They just can say, they just did it to me. They just, somebody just wrote an article in some corporatist Democrat rag saying that I was pro working with racists or something like that. I was pro, which I actually said the opposite. I actually said that I don't endorse that tactic of working with racists. I don't endorse that tactic. And they just said the exact opposite. So you saw, I just read you Jeremy Corbyn's thing, and they just said the exact opposite of what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
So here is some tweets that I thought were interesting in that same thread. So what does this tell you to Mr. Tracey? This guy says, it tells me that the CIA has all its ducks in place trying to stop the progressive wave. That's what Billy Joe Kane says. Jay Nelson says, the premise is that the lack of real evidence tying the poisoning to the Russian government doesn't matter. Anyone that doesn't jump to conclusions is a Russian sympathizer.
We need to hold the authorities accountable on the basis of evidence.
Yeah. No,
what more do you want? Oh, no. I know. He's in
agreeing
agreement
with us.
No. I know he's agreeing, but I'm just saying it's like how do you conclude that means Putin has a point?
So that's
saying,
so this is Ron, what this is part of that Bernie's a sexist.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie's what else did they say? Bernie was he was a grumpy old man. Bernie wore an $800 suit coat. Bernie, and this is all that is, right? So Bernie's a racist. They said Bernie, black people don't like Bernie. That's not true. Polling shows the exact opposite. So that's what this is, and just get ready for more of it. So anybody who's progressive, I just got it from the corporate Democrat rags. Isn't that funny? The exact opposite of what I said. So anybody who's anti-war and progressive, they're going to smear you, and then if you answer the smear, it just elevates the smear. So now and more people will see it. So I don't really answer to smears like that, unless it comes from the Washington Post, and then I'll have fun with it. So I don't. You can't. There's so many people lying about what I say right now. It's funny. I can't believe. People say your show's popular, and then I'm like, it's kind of popular. We have over 300,000 subscribers. The Young Turks have 3 million, right? So we do okay. But then I can't believe all the videos that people make, articles people write, completely slandering this show, me, and saying that we said stuff we didn't, deceptively editing videos. You've seen that happen.
Oh, yeah.
About when I talked with Joe Rogan, people selectively not showing the parts that would exonerate me. They would say, oh, no, we don't. So that's what this is. So you're a progressive, corporate Democrats smear you. I'm getting smeared way more by corporate Democrats than the right wing ever smeared me.
We're all going to be called Putin sympathizers on Twitter this week.
Yes.
All of us are going to.
Oh, of course.
We can timestamp different parts in the video where we're waiting for evidence. They're not, we're waiting for the proper evidence. Won't matter.
So yeah, the last
Won't
time.
matter.
Right. The last time this happened is when we covered Wheeler, when he was when Wheeler was talking about the Seth Rich investigation
as it was happening,
and we said in that video we're going to wait for evidence. This is suspicious. We're going to wait for evidence. Unlike the mainstream news media, same thing here. Everybody's jumping to conclusions, and if you don't jump to a conclusion that Russia did it, then you're a Putin sympathizer. Even though we know their intelligence community has lied to us repeatedly. The Iraq War, torture. Okay? Just keep those two things in mind. We don't have to go anywhere else. So there it is. There you have it.
Can I just add something? I was just doing a cursory read about it. So the spy that was poisoned and his daughter, he had been a part of a spy swap that he was giving to M16. I guess that's their secret service.
MI6?
MI6. MI6. I thought it was M16.
It looks like M16.
Okay, MI6. So he was giving information to them. Eventually, there was a swap, and then he's now in the UK. What I didn't know is this event happened at a restaurant that they were poisoned at is at a restaurant. And what the Daily Mail UK said, that it's important to reiterate that they have not declared it as a terrorist incident at this stage, which is interesting. Additionally, the advice from public health in England remains that based on the evidence to date currently, there doesn't appear to be any immediate risk to the public. So it's interesting that they can conclude all of these facts, but still want to say that this is because of Putin. I mean, it doesn't seem like any evidence is bearing out that it is Putin. So like you're saying, we're waiting.
Yeah, so the responsible thing to do if you're a real statesman and you wanted to actually get to the bottom of something, you would say, well, we're going to wait for an investigation. And then when the investigation comes out, that's when you ratchet it up. But that's not what's happening again. This is, we got to go into WMDs. We got to go in. Saddam's a bad guy. Saddam's a bad guy. That's what this is again. Oh, Syria, Assad's a bad guy. There's bad guys everywhere. You know who else is a bad guy? Saudi Arabia. Very bad guy. We're not invading them. Okay, so just so you know, that's what's going to happen. It's happening to Jeremy Corbyn all the time. We just showed you another video where they tried to say he was in bed with the communists. He was giving secrets to the Remember that? We showed that video here. So, and it's going to, as soon as Bernie declares that he's running again, they're going to come at him so hard, meaning the corporate Democrats. And they'll do it in sneaky ways. They're going to do it in sneaky ways. They'll use surrogates to attack them. They'll get their friends in the right wing to write articles. It'll amplify them. They'll do all kinds of stuff like that to screw over Bernie Sanders because he's a progressive. And now, is Bernie Sanders perfect? By no means is Bernie Sanders perfect. Nobody is. Bernie Sanders is the least flawed guy who has a chance to become president that I know of. He's the least flawed. He has flaws like everybody. And people go, yeah, but he's got this flaw. I know. I'm not trying to pretend Bernie Sanders doesn't have flaws. He could be better on a lot of things. Right now, he's the best on things of anybody who's viable. Am I wrong about that?
I completely agree.
Okay,
with you.
so
Absolutely.
I'm all, so I think people who watch the show know my position. I'm for progressives, no matter where they are, no matter when they run. I'm for progressives. What do you think about that? All right. So, So again, this is the establishment news media. This is the establishment in intelligence community. This is neoliberalism. That's what I think this is, and they want to screw over progressives. And it's not stopping. It's only ramping up. And Jeremy Corbyn actually took over the party, which is why they can't stop attacking him like this, like over the top. Bernie doesn't have any power yet right now. He's not in the head of the party. He's not. So, but believe me, as soon as it looks like he might be, things are going to hit the fan for him. They're going to make this look like child play. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
March 26th is a Monday. We're going to be in Austin, Texas. We'd love to see you March 26th. March 30th is a Friday. We'll be in Burbank, California. We'd love to see you then, too. Please make sure you can find a way to support the show and stick a thumb in the eye of the man. Make sure you're subscribed. I know you think you are. Check. It only takes a second to check, and then click that bell so you get a notification. When we drop a video, please become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week, and we're on Steam It. We're steaming it right now.